You're listening to No Plot, Only Lore, a podcast about games and the tables we play them at. Your DMs tonight and every night are Josh and Kris. You can find us on all podcast platforms or check us out at noplotonlylore.com. If you like what you hear today, please rate and review the show and share it with everyone you've ever met.
Welcome back to No Plot, Only Lore, this week brought to you by Joss Whedon.
Oh, God. Okay, sure. You know what? Hey, I'm not even gonna... Joss Whedon sucks. We all know Joss Whedon sucks.
Joss Whedon is the worst, yes.
That much we can agree on, but apparently...
Yes.
Me saying that not only does Joss suck, but Buffy St. Marie sucks, was a...
I know that that's a reference to a thing, but I don't actually know Buffy St. Marie.
No, don't worry about it. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, though. Ass.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Okay. So, we have a lot of discussions about death of the author in my house.
Yeah.
Like a weird number of discussions about death of the author in my house, because a lot of the stuff that I like is made by terrible people.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I like is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and apparently you've chosen today to blaspheme.
Oh, yeah, Buffy sucks and is not good, and you should be more okay with not liking it for reasons that have nothing to do with Joss Whedon being a shitheel.
Right. So I would be open to not liking it if it wasn't great, and it is.
But it's not. It's not as great as you think it is. It just hit at the right time for you to think it's excellent. A lot of this shit happens when you're in high school, and then you think it's like awesome, and then you look back on it 20 years later, and you're like, "What the fuck was I on?" Like, case in point, R.A. Salvatore.
Oh no, that's fair. I didn't like R.A. Salvatore when I was a teenager. Nice enough man, but his books just bounced right off me.
For some reason, I wound up reading some Driss stuff like later in life, and I found out, and I thought like, oh, pretty good. I found out later that all that stuff was like later sequel trilogies or something.
Oh,
that are like much
yeah,
better written.
Okay, and then you went back and read some of the earlier stuff and
tried to, really tried to. Yeah, not good.
See, because like Dragonlance kind of hits that way for me, where like I have a soft spot in my heart for Dragonlance, with the understanding that the first few books were pretty obviously written in a weekend,
right,
and have all of the hallmarks of stories that were written in a weekend.
Yeah.
And so yeah, they don't necessarily hold up. I actually came late to Buffy. Buffy started running in 1997, and I did watch the first few seasons with my parents.
Okay.
And then I left, and I didn't do anything with Buffy for a long time, and came back to it in my mid-20s. And it is the piece of media that I have watched more often than any other.
That's so wild to me. You should know better.
Like, back to back. In the same way that people do, like, Lord of the Rings marathons, I have occasionally done like season 1 through season 7 marathons of Buffy, where that's just all I do for the week.
I genuinely just baffled by this choice. As someone who purports to be a tastemaker.
I mean, I don't necessarily purport to be a tastemaker. I am a person who understands art criticism, and I think that's part of the draw, is that it is
easy to criticize?
Is the sort of work that appeals to people who like to criticize.
Okay.
I think like it has a lot of pop appeal for sure, but also has like just enough fiddly bits that it keeps you interested, even if you've seen a lot of other media. Right? Like, doing a musical episode at this point is just the worst.
Yeah, that's true. I can agree with you on that.
They were the first to do it, though, and so it was new and fresh, and nobody had seen it before. And it's also still, in my opinion, the best of the form.
Okay.
Right.
That might be true, but that doesn't mean it's good.
Okay, I can see where being the best musical episode isn't necessarily like hitting the bar for quality.
High praise there, Christopher. Woo.
Except that, like, I don't know. When did Glee come out?
Oh, Jesus. I don't know.
I'm gonna look it up on my phone.
More recently than I'm comfortable with. I prefer to think of Glee as like a relic of the 90s, even though I know that's not true. I want it to be true, but...
When did you start Glee? 2009. So, like, I don't think that Glee could have existed without Buffy. And maybe, again, like, not necessarily praise.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, that is a damning indictment of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yeah, so the reason we have this plague on pop culture is because of Buffy.
But we're going to have to have all hands on deck if we're going to make it to nationals.
Jeez. This is actually painful for me to listen to.
That is one of my favorite quotes from Community, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've been watching a lot of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and having some discussions about how Joss Whedon is a shitbag. Mm-hmm. And one of the tropes in Buffy, and I think probably one of the best uses of that trope in role-playing games, is the Chosen One trope.
Yeah.
You have a person who is selected by the gods or a god or fate or some mysterious force to be cooler and better than literally everybody else.
Yeah.
And in the Buffyverse, that is the Slayer, the person who is there to hunt down vampires and kill them. But it is probably the most pervasive trope in all of fantasy media.
Yeah, I would say, like, if the most pervasive, like, arc is like the hero's journey, quite often the hero themselves is the chosen one or whatever.
Yeah. And like maybe we're moving away from that, but definitely when I was growing up, the most common trope you were going to see for that was the chosen one trope.
Right.
Down to like I recognize that it's like a chosen group, and we'll talk about it a little bit later on, but like Fellowship of the Ring is forming a group of chosen ones.
Right.
Right. You have a bunch of people who are chosen to go on this crazy adventure to take down the big bad. And they are the only group of people who can do that because they have the magic dingus. Like,
I really,
everything about that is...
I want to get into the nitty gritty of this idea of the chosen one, because I think, to my mind, like, the chosen one, like, I kind of disagree with your assertion there that these are chosen ones, except for like maybe Frodo himself, but we'll get into the weeds on this soon enough.
I mean, if we really want to get into like Gandalf being a godlike creature and selecting this group of people by hand to do this thing,
but he didn't.
We can definitely do that.
He didn't select those people. That's the whole thing. Is that
I guess he did.
These
just
are the people
Frodo.
that stepped up and said, "Hey, like I will go. I will help."
Yeah, a group of short people who accidentally became adventurers. Yeah.
Anyways, yeah.
So yeah, the role-playing game of Buffy the Vampire Slayer by Eden Studios is actually one of my favorite role-playing books to read.
Mm-hmm.
And has a few systems in it that I think are really interesting when taking into consideration this chosen one trope, because they bake it into the system itself.
Sure.
Right. Have you read... I'm assuming because you're such a huge fan, you've absolutely devoured everything to do with Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, yeah, that's me. I got the comic books and the... No, fuck you.
No, okay. So... Did you ever read C.J. Carella's Witchcraft?
You remember the house I grew up in?
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I was not reading a lot
okay.
of things with witchcraft in the title.
No, that's fair. So Witchcraft, C.J. Carella is somebody whose career I've been following for a long time. The first thing that I am familiar with of his was a Palladium property called Nightbane.
Okay.
Where you play as like horrific monsters, and he took like the random rolls charts to some interesting new levels, because the idea of Nightbane is that you wake up one day and you have been horrifyingly mutated into an awful eldritch creature of the night, and you have no control over what that looks like or how you interact with that.
Okay.
And so all of it is random rolls. So it's just like you've got chains for hair now, and like 6-foot tentacles that come out of your back, and all of your fingers are penises, and it's just like everything is a random roll with percentile dice, and you make this abomination. And so I thought that was dope as hell. And when he went and started his own studio, I picked up Witchcraft right away, and it was great. It did a bunch of things that I thought we should have been doing from the beginning. Like, magic is a skill. You roll for it like skills. You have the opportunity to like prepare for a spell in ways that you would prepare for like rolling a skill checks. Mm-hmm. And there are like full descriptions of how you can do research for your spells and the rituals that you can cast. And it's really interestingly detailed, but at the same time kind of like weirdly cinematic in the way that it approaches it. It kind of reminds me of like the magic system from The Craft.
Oh, right. I only have a vague recollection of that movie.
Hot girls doing magic stuff is pretty much the... The Craft had currency with my friend group because I hung out with a bunch of like baby goths. And then they took all of that and applied it to Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and it slapped harder than it has any right to.
Yeah, to my mind, anything with Buffy has no right to slap anywhere. But
so one of the things that they did with the Chosen One trope that I thought was really cool is it's a template type character selection that you're doing. So you have like the Chosen One Slayer type character, and you can pick that, and then there's like options and things that you can check off for like how you want to customize that. And then you've got like other tropes that you can play that you can just pick up. And then you also have the option of like building a character from scratch if you want to. But most of the time you're just going to pick up one of these templates and start playing right away. And the way that those templates play off of each other is fucking great.
Okay.
The Chosen One, obviously the one who has like the most action stuff to do, right? Like they are the one that is good at fight.
Right.
But then the others are good at other things. And two of the things that they're really good at is the drama point system that they have is really geared towards your secondary characters. So if you do something that is cool and dramatic, you get a drama point. And if you utilize those drama points, you can get special effects, which explains how a character is able to get punched by a vampire who can normally punch through a truck. And they land in a pile of garbage, and after the fight, they stand up and brush themselves off and go, "Oh, I think I'm going to be okay."
Oh, I see.
Right, and so like you have an out for when you die,
right?
And like you can spend the points on like a generous turn of fate occasionally, where like you're looking for a thing and you're just like, "Cool, can I just like spend a couple of fate points to have that like miraculously fall into my lap somehow?" And you can do that.
I don't know why you would
and it's really good. And
spend points on anything other than just like not dying.
Not dying was actually pretty cheap.
Oh, okay.
Like, I think I'm okay was, I believe, the name of the ability, and it only cost 1 point.
That's shockingly cheap.
But the thing about it is that it took you out of the fight for the rest of the combat.
Sure. But if you were already going to die, who gives a shit?
Yeah. Right? If you were already going to die, you just spend your point and you're good. And then otherwise you get like the big dramatic send-off or whatever. Right. But that balancing act between like the the person who does all the fight doesn't get as many of those freebies.
Yeah.
Means that you actually have like good reasons to keep those people around and to like hang out with them and help, like have them help with troubleshooting and like problem solving and stuff, because they are able to do those things when you're really good at punching stuff.
I'm good at punching stuff.
You are good at punching stuff. Pretty good at troubleshooting too. It's a fictional device. It isn't supposed to accurately reflect real life.
That's true.
You're good at all sorts of things, Josh.
Thanks. I need validation almost constantly.
Have you ever seen other game systems that handle that well?
Nope. My experience with narrative game systems is extremely limited. I've said before, if it's not made by Wizards of the Coast, I probably haven't tried very much of it.
That's fair.
Let me think here. I played some Paranoia.
Mm-hmm.
I played some
Paranoia not known for the
no,
like chosen one trope, given that you're going to die and you're going to have clones come out.
No, I'm trying to think of like. So, funnily enough, the narrative systems that I've played in have been fairly like board game based, which is like it's narrative, but it's not really like a vehicle for expression or whatever.
Okay.
It's just
so you're like playing through the plot beats in like a board game style.
Yeah, like it'll be like a closer to like a choose your own adventure type deal, you know? What was the most recent one I played? I played Tainted Grail. And Tainted Grail has a large book that comes with it. You or your party leave from a central town. You're given you're given a vague sort of like, hey, everything sucks, maybe you should go fix it kind of mission. And you explore from there and make choices as you go. And your like ability scores in certain areas will affect your options sometimes or your success chances. But other than like making some very simple like yes or no type decisions, you really don't get much by way of like narrative input. So yeah,
I want to derail this very slightly just to like express my appreciation for the everything sucks. These random strangers who just came into town should definitely fix it trope, because like most adventure games and fiction kind of leans on that.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous because in real life that would never happen.
Well, and that's so Tainted Grail specifically was really nice about that, because they specifically pointed out like, no, you live here. Like, this is where you're from.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes you need to go home and sleep in your own bed.
Right.
Which was a welcome change of pace. But yeah, I totally understand the
Slug Blasters did that, and I thought that was cute.
Yeah.
And the town was based on like Hannah, Alberta.
Oh man, of all the places.
Well, it's where the author is from, and
I'm just saying the irony of that and Nickelback coming out of the same location.
Fair enough. All right, what's your favorite version of the Chosen One trope?
Well, anyone who's listened to this podcast for more than 5 minutes knows already that it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
Even though,
which one?
I think Anakin's arc. That being said, I saw you got different types of chosen ones, and I think you need to differentiate between like this. I think there deserves to be their own category of like messianic chosen ones, the prophesied chosen ones.
Right. Okay.
That's to me that's significantly different from like chosen by the fates or chosen by a specific. You know, we mentioned Lord of the Rings, like chosen by
Mm-hmm.
Gandalf or whoever, right, to do the thing. I think it's like the person that like that has been spoken of to come soon. I mean, like Dune has their Lisan Al Gaib, and even the namesake of the messianic idea, like Jesus Christ being the prophesied one, whether the Hebrews choose to accept it or not. Like that's
he never actually killed Satan though, and I feel like that missed opportunity on the story beats. I think that like having a big battle towards the end of that would have really sold it.
Yeah. Well, there's the later fanfics that kind of spell out what happened in those 3 days in the tomb.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I tried to keep it kind of broad.
Yeah.
And like kind of based on the fiction that I am most familiar with, I guess. And so like the Fated one, the one that has all the prophecies, and is going to be like has been foretold by God or the gods to come and save the thing. Definitely has its place. And like I guess Anakin kind of fits into that.
100%.
Anakin is interesting.
I said 100%. Anakin is like, Obi-Wan even says it, like, you were supposed to be the chosen one. They talked about someone who's supposed to bring balance to the Force, but what the arrogant Jedi didn't understand was that balance was actual balance and not just wiping out the dark side of the Force.
I mean, I don't know. I think that there is room for a couple of interpretations of that, in that like the Jedi see the light side of the Force as balanced, where everything outside of the light side is imbalanced.
Right.
And that the prophecies were close, but it was actually Luke.
Interesting.
Right, like,
but because again, that's
Anakin is an interesting inversion, like a subversion of the trope, in that he's supposed to be the one that does all of these great things, and actually he turns out to be the villain, sort of.
Or okay, getting too philosophical about Star Wars, and like it's
not a trope of ours at all.
It's ironic that you bring this up, because I was literally thinking about this earlier this week on my own while driving around. But the idea between was Anakin the chosen one that actually brought balance in the way that the prophecy foretold, just the Jedi misunderstood it, or was he the true chosen one but was corrupted by Palpatine and turned from his fate? Like, did the
other possibility
go ahead
is that he is the chosen one, and that he brought balance to the Force by proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that you could turn away from the dark side.
So okay, you know what? We have homework. You need to go watch the animated episodes where Anakin talks to the mother, father, and son, or sorry, the daughter, father, and son, the Force gods, and understand the wild places that Force lore has gone with Star Wars specifically.
I already watched your 6 movies in a Mandalorian. Come on.
I'm sorry, it's mandatory for the pod.
All right. Let's talk about a couple other options.
Okay.
So one of my favorites, and one of your least favorites, is from The Wheel of Time.
Yeah, that show sucks, and it's been proven in its cancellation. But also, I could not get into the first book, so I don't know anything about the prophecies. I don't know who's supposed to be whatever.
The interesting thing about that one for me is that, like, Rand al'Thor is the Dragon Reborn.
Okay.
So he is the messianic chosen one that is prophesied to return and break the world and make it anew, and defeat the Dark One at Tarmon Ghoul.
What does that mean?
But It's the final battle.
Oh.
It's Armageddon.
Oh, okay.
So it's Jesus, but he fights the devil.
Okay.
And then his buddies, Matt and Perrin, are also chosen ones. They're just slightly smaller.
What?
So, like, the way that the Wheel of Time chosen system works, I guess, is like every once in a while somebody is chosen by the pattern that, like, the pattern of time, the pattern of existence, to be a focal point that things are going to swirl around.
Okay.
And Randall Thor is the biggest of those focal points. He's the biggest distortion to the pattern, but his two buddies are also distortions of the pattern. And they are slightly smaller, but they're also, like, still huge, right? Like, it's a difference in scale between, like, 3 stars of roughly the same size, but one of them is a little bigger.
Oh, it's a Kessel Run.
It's a Kessel Run. And so they run into some interesting problems because of their proximity to one another occasionally.
Okay.
Where, like, the entire universe is warping itself around these 3 people in weird ways.
Yeah.
And when all 3 of them are in the same place, it warps real bad.
Okay.
And it's easy to tell where they are if you're paying attention to it, and, like, weird things start to happen around them. Like, there's a town where suddenly a bunch of the dead start walking. They're not alive, they're just walking.
What? Just wandering around?
Yep. Just like puppets. They're just moving around like puppets. I can't remember all of it was like the 8th book and I was already delirious.
That tracks.
But, like, the huge warping of the universe around these, like, this triple star system of chosen ones is interesting to me in the way that can play out, and, like, having the world warp itself around multiple chosen ones was interesting.
Okay. They're just chosen for minor tasks.
Not minor. Like, again, it's 3 huge things. Like, one of them becomes one of the greatest generals that has ever lived. One of them becomes the king of the new, like, shining kingdom of Avalon or whatever. And the third one goes to and fights the devil in a duel to the death.
Oh, those seem significant.
They're really significant. So, yeah. And then the TV series fucked it up.
Yeah, well, it's the TV series didn't have 14 books to get it right, so...
They didn't need it, though. Like,
disagree.
The concept is baked into the is baked into the story, where, like, you have 3 kids that are, like, hugely chosen, and they need to escape their podunk little town so that they can go do big things with, like, the horrible machinations of the witches behind them, right? Like, it's good. And then in the first book, it's pretty clear that the guy that can, like, channel the one power, the magic guy, is the big one.
Right.
But the other 2 are still fucking shit up, and so there's a little bit of, like, a, hey, what's going on here?
Right.
With those guys. But the TV show decided to try and make it a Who is the Dragon Reborn mystery.
Oh, I see.
Between those 3 guys and 2 girls who were never in the conversation.
Right.
Okay, right, like those 2 girls are incredibly important.
Right, but they're not the Dragon Reborn.
They are very not the Dragon Reborn. And, like, none of the prophecies from the books even suggest that it could be them. And there is no indication about why or how they would break the world and, like, reshape it anew. Like, all of the shit that, like, leads to, like, Who is the Dragon Reborn cannot point to those 2.
Okay, but were those prophecies sexist?
Yes, because the entire world is sexist.
And that's exactly where the problem comes in, because we can't have that on modern TV, so...
It was, so, like, Robert Jordan is somebody that I would hold up as like a shining example of 1990s feminism.
Right.
In that there was a whole lot of talk about the difference between men and women, and you had like comedians standing up and being like, "Oh, I hate my wife," right? Like,
yeah,
that version of feminism was trying to better understand the differences between men and women and like show women in positions of strength and authority, and he did that. And it's deeply problematic if you look at it for more than 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But like he fucking tried. But the world itself is a sexist world.
Yeah.
Right? Like the magic system is sexually divided between the good one and the bad one, and the good one goes to women.
Yeah. No.
The bad one drives men crazy and they kill everyone around them.
Yeah.
Like testosterone.
Hey. I have that.
All right, a couple other ones. Being the chosen one sucks.
Right.
Speaking of problematic people,
yep.
Harry Potter
yep.
is, I think, a really good version of this, where like he is the chosen one. Everyone treats him like the chosen one. He's mediocre.
Yeah, and he's got a big old target on his head, which is not fun.
He's just a dude.
Yeah, literally just a guy.
Just a guy. Not a spectacular guy. He's pretty good at a couple of things, but like not so good that you would look at him and be like, that guy is clearly chosen by the gods to fight the biggest, baddest wizard of all time.
Yeah.
Like, he's failing a lot of his classes.
This guy, listen, this kid's got a lot on his plate, you know?
He does.
The chosen one who has to fight, like, literal magic Satan.
Yes. He has to go punch Magic Hitler in the face.
Yep.
And nobody's given him a choice about that, and it fucking sucks. And it's got a big target on his head. And I appreciate that approach to it. Of just like, he's just a dude.
Yeah.
Right, like sometimes being the chosen one is you're just a dude.
Just happen to be a guy. It's okay.
You were in the wrong place at the wrong time, and now you've got prophecies.
Yeah.
Like it's some sort of disease.
Ew. Prophecies.
Ew, he's got prophecies. Everyone is chosen.
Yeah.
Is also one that I like.
What is an example of everyone is chosen? Oh, Percy Jackson.
Power Rangers.
Oh. Well, okay. Nah. Isn't Power Rangers more like your chosen few type thing?
Power Rangers is Zordon decides that he needs teenagers with attitude to go fight the moon crazy bitch. And so he just picks some. Attitude. You are so old.
Oh. Harmful.
And like, I think it would be the chosen few if it wasn't for the fact that there's like 37 different teams of Power Rangers now.
Yeah, listen, you're chosen. You're not immortal. There's generations. Like they always need a fresh crop of kids to throw into combat.
Yeah, they need a steady stream of child soldiers to fight the cosmic wars. What a horrifying. Again, like you spend more than 30 seconds looking at it.
I have not deep dove Power Rangers lore, and I frankly don't want to, but
I have the weirdest fascination with the Power Rangers in that like there is something about that iconography that really grabs me.
Yeah.
Right. Like I really deeply appreciate the iconography and the like symbolism and the like the costume design and the stupid rubber face creatures.
Yeah.
There's so much about it that I love. I can't stand the fucking acting.
Yeah.
So like I don't watch Power Rangers, but I'm really into the idea of Power Rangers more than anything. But yeah, Percy Jackson I think is maybe a better choice.
Okay. That makes sense.
Just everybody in the series is.
What have I watched? I've watched a TV series of it with my kids.
It's good.
Yeah. And something else I don't remember.
Did you read the books?
Nope. I watched a movie. That stuff came out so late after I was reading books. You know.
Do you read with Grant?
Yeah, but we read Dogman and Cat Child person.
Cat Kid, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and the would-be kid.
Try the first book.
Okay.
Thor glomped onto it real hard, real early. He absolutely adores those books.
Okay, but your child is a glomper.
He is a glomper. That is true. But yeah, out of all of the things that we've read, Percy Jackson is the one that he responded to the best. And like he's also a Dogman, Cat Kid, Captain Underpants type kid.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, we did a lot of Underpants for a while.
Yeah, we read all the Underpants until there wasn't any more Underpants.
Yeah, my younger brother had so many Underpants as a kid, and so we got like OG Underpants releases. I'm kind of a hipster when it comes to Underpants, really.
You were into Captain Underpants before
Way before it was cool.
That is actually one of my least favorite versions of a Chosen One trope.
Captain Underpants?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he goes through the first bunch of books without superpowers.
Correct.
And it's great.
Yeah, that's true.
And then as soon as he gets superpowers, he is now an actual superhero. He has actually been chosen to, accidentally chosen. Again, like one of those people that, like, he's the only one who can because he accidentally, the whole superpowers.
Yeah.
And it's not as good after that point. I really preferred Harold and George having to chase after their half-naked principal and keep him out of trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he is going to get himself killed in these ridiculous situations. That was great.
Yeah, we had a good time with those.
Yeah. Problems with prophecies. Problems with the Chosen Ones. When does Chosen One stuff suck?
I think Chosen One stuff sucks when the Chosen One is too fucking good at everything.
So like the Bella Swan type thing?
Yeah. Yeah. Just preternaturally good at just about everything. And what else sucks about Chosen Ones?
I kind of hate that in like non-Chosen Ones too, though.
Sacrificial best friend.
Sacrificial best friend?
Yeah.
Like fridge stuffing a best friend?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because I was just thinking, like, as far as Mary Sue characters go, like, the first one that I always run to is kind of Katniss Everdeen, but she wasn't really chosen by anything.
No, she volunteered for that shitty job.
And was just the bestest at it.
Instantly, because everything she did in her life up to that point was perfect for the job.
And I mean, that's fine, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. It worked, I suppose. But like, yeah, just a little too good.
Yeah.
Mostly by accident.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely, I feel like she got Mary sued, but that's just me.
I find it really difficult to deal with Chosen Ones, both in like fiction and in role-playing games, and especially in role-playing games, because it begins to impact the group dynamics when the Chosen One is the most important character and nobody else can be as important.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, like, everyone at that table wants to be the Chosen One, so...
Not necessarily. Like, again, going back to the Buffy the Vampire Slayer thing, I much preferred playing a side character.
Really?
Because the dramatic options available to me with the, like, fate points or, like, story points or drama points or whatever the fuck they called them, were more interesting to me. And there was something about having like some fragility and not being the like main beat 'em up type character that I really appreciated, and like getting to do a lot of the problem solving stuff and having that be like my main role was actually a lot of fun.
Huh. Interesting.
And it also meant that like we could play off of the Chosen One role a little bit and do some of the being the Chosen One sucks.
Yeah.
because like I'm able to go off and like do stuff that the Buffy character can't, because the Buffy character has to go fight vampires.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like when you have a situation where there is only one important character in your game, just play a one-on-one game.
Yeah. Oh, never mind. I'm deeply traumatized by some one-on-one D&D or whatever the fuck was being played at that table.
That seems like a can of worms we're opening next episode.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for making it all the way through this episode of No Plot Only Lore. If you're looking for more, you can always find us at noplotonlylore.com and on all the very best podcast platforms. If you like what you heard today, please share, rate, and review the show to feed my never-ending need for attention and validation.